Hey everyone, it's been a minute since I made a video. I've been very buried in this game project for Bonfire for a while, and that's been taking all my time, so I'm very sorry I haven't been making videos. Normally you can find them on my YouTube channel. It's gotten very lonely. 2 years ago, oof. There's still some good stuff in here, especially the later videos. These ones are getting a little old and dated now, but the advice is still good, I suppose. Today, we're doing a fun experiment for a very good friend of mine named Paul Stoughton, who owns a company called Penguin Grenade, and they have some of the best sound effects libraries out that exist. Paul has an extremely unique style and sound about him, and so everything he records and everything he processes and handles for these libraries, I think, have this power and an immense amount of clarity without much noise, which is really hard to do, and it's quite rare. He's released a brand new library, which isn't yet on his store, though it probably will be by the time you see this video, called Raw Magic. Raw Magic is much more geared towards just giving you the raw elements to play with as a sound designer. And so some stuff he's processed a little bit, but a lot of it is just like a catch-all of really interesting, unique recordings that he's taken, and you can use them to build really, really cool magic stuff. So clicking through the library, you might find pants moving, really interesting impacts with sticks and other foam things. I love this one. Really great sand textures. That always goes well on top of magic. Mortar explosions, glass stuff, wet chamois. The list goes on. So far, it's about 340 files. And I made an okay magic thing with it, and we're going to look at it. So I made this with, this could be basically a generic poof. You could use it for like a teleport, or maybe just a poof if you're like casting a spell, turning something into a frog or a lamp or something. I don't know. So here's the sound. One more time. And it's got some tonal stuff going on in there. You could take it or leave it, right? You could just like, for example, I have these little group regions here that I use to show different layers. You could just have it be this as well. That's still a really effective poof. And I think it leaves room to be creative. If you want to put a fire layer on it, if you want to make it more, I don't know, whispered demon magic, and this is a good foundational poof thing, and I think it serves its purpose. It's got a decent body, it's quick, it's got an interesting envelope about it, some cool character. It's got some low end, but it's not too muddy in my opinion. I don't have a subwoofer at the moment, so let me know if it's too hard in the sub, though I think it's okay. So let's break this down really quick so you can recreate it at home using this library. So this first file we have here is just a cool little tonal element that comes from these whooshes I made. I thought they were pretty cool, but the sound ended up going in a different direction, so I still just kept the tiny bit of it there. I thought it was a cool little tonal character. And I made it from this awesome file of this jacket with delay, with processing now. So this is kind of a cool trick that I like. You're basically using soothe and reversing it. So you're just getting the delta of what it's doing. So soothe is basically removing tonality from a sound generally, but you can then press this delta button down here and you'll only hear the tonality it's trying to remove, so you can get super tonal sounds. We first have it going through a tremolator. Oh, sorry, it's cutting in and out. My computer's hanging on by a thread doing this recording. You have a tremolator. You have a decapitator then. You have transx, and this is a trick you can take out and reduce clickiness, or just soften clickiness, right, by using negative pull down on a transx multi here. There's the soothe. We have the traveler giving it the whoosh. This is a great doppler plugin if you don't have it. It's also doing a little distortion there. And then an echo boy, which is an amazing delay that has all these cool style options you can choose that give it some wobble and saturation and really give it its own character as well. And then it's going through an L2, just doing a couple dB there of compression. So that's how we have that sound. Then that sound in context. Very quick, but I think it gives it a cool little pre-flutter that sounds a little surreal. So it does its job, the little sound that it is. the sound under it is taken from the same file as well. So together, I think that gives it a cool in. It helps. Next sound. So these two files are working together as well, just like the first two, and they're doing a cool little low-end swell. Looping. And so this is a really cool way to give something character as well. And the way I made this is it's mostly this bottom file, and you take this cloth movement file and you put a filter freak. Well, let me show you. So we're back in SoundMiner. This is the file I made it from. Awesome big jacket whooshes. With processing. And I might have pitched it down a little bit as well. So we have a filter freak, decapitator, newfangled saturate, which is just a great clipper. You could use other saturators though too. Z-noise, reducing a little bit of noise there. That was probably came from the distortion I was adding. And then a flat L2. The sound itself also has an EQ, taken out about 10 dB at 100 Hertz. So if I stretch this out, you can hear it. And you reduce it back down to the shape. It's a quick thing. The top file is done in a similar way. And it's another jacket, cloth movement, fan whoosh. So it's another file like that. And it just adds a little bit of a top to it. It's probably not needed, but I think it just makes it a little nicer than just so because gives it a longer movement across the frequency band, which gives it power. Doing things like this is cool because if I mute these, it's still a good sound, I think. One more time. Right, but when you do this, it gives it a sense of weight and power, like there's a big suction moment, air vacuum happening right before it. So that's fun. So this next sound is kind of a cool one. I'll play it for you here. I'm EQing a lot of the, crazy EQ there. Let's bypass that. Awesome. Good amount of mid-range. We're taking out there. And there's that tonal thing we wanted to reduce, it looks like. I put a fade here because the impact is right below it. And so I didn't want to step on the impact with it. This sounds interesting. It gives it, I think, some character and kind of a cool tonal shriek that's not too shrieky or harsh. Making it, we use this umbrella whoosh fast 02 file. Great, cool umbrella whooshes. Good, makes me think of a parachute. Processing. Z-noise. Transxonally, doing a lot there, giving it a touch. Really trying to liven it up, make it bigger. If I bypass that. Unbypass. Yeah, see? Filter freak, oldie but a goodie. Great for giving you that big bushy movement. Also reduces noise by not letting all those high frequencies in. Because it's a filter. Crystallizer, giving you that cool delay thing you're hearing. And then L2, crushing it. So don't be afraid, guys. You know, you want to get your sound. You're like, why isn't it big? Okay, well, it's too dynamic. All right, this is just a little part of a spell. You don't need dynamics in that. You just need a big, punchy, cool thing. And so that gives us our cool umbrella thing, which ends up on its own sounding pretty like dull and you know, a little older, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it does what it needs to. This next sound is just a little thunder drum hit. You don't really hear it. Don't even think it's necessarily needed. Same thing with this next one. It's a reversed. I think it might even be the same sound reversed. Just reverse thunder drum hit. So if I come in here, type thunder drum. Out this processing. Be nice. Yeah, there's these really cool spacey things. So I just use one of those and did a little thing to it. It's got an EQ. Let's see what it is. Mid-range taken out, yeah. So there you go. There's that. Little firework. There's fireworks in this library. They're great. Little beatbox kick. This is just a low end bit. Yeah, just a low end thump. It sounds like there's a filter freak in there as well. Just giving a little low end. It's when you have an impact, it's nice to have low end swell in after. So boom, that gives the feeling of weight instead of lining it all up exactly in a line. So I think that was the goal for that, was to give it that effect. And you kind of hear after the. So this is the main hit. This big Shammy crack. So let's get into that. All right, so it's made from this Shammy whoosh short. And it's a great recording. I even love the little bit of room noise, but it gives it like a slap back that makes it feel bigger. So it's the room slap, I mean. And he probably recorded it next to a surface to have that effect on purpose. And it's got a really great crack, really present, and it's got some body in there too, so we're going to accentuate that. So we have Z noise at the start, just because I really love to do that. Going into a low air, giving it some sub stuff, going all the way up to like 120-ish. A snap heap, which is, this is a great company, Kilohertz. It's like $10 a month, and you get their whole suite of all these for like $10 a month. So it's really great if you're on a budget and you just want a compressor, you want a delay, a chorus, filters, like distortion stuff, pitchers, everything. And then it comes with this snap heap thing, which is like you can actually arrange them and have them go parallel, or you can have them travel through here. I just have one module on pitch shifter, down an octave, mixed 40% or so. Multiverb 7, just doing a little street, probably accentuating that slap thing that I'd mentioned. And then L2, doing about 11 dB. So there we go. Maybe we pitch it down a little too. Great. So yeah, our actual file sounds like this. Without the pitch. So yeah, I did pitch it down, definitely. Yeah, aren't those great? I mean, on their own, they're whatever, but they're great building blocks, right? Oh, and then we EQ'd the heck out of it here. Oh, look at that. It took all that high end out. Oh, let me actually go to the file so you see the truth. Took out some clarity here. It was probably getting too harsh at high volumes. Yeah, that'll hurt at high volumes. And then taking out some mud as well. This really kind of de-hyped the sound, right? It took out a lot of that high end. But it kept it really safe for loud volume. So if you wanted to crank your volume, that's not going to hurt or be harsh. Whereas without this, because of the processing I did, you know, it could get a little bright, a little brittle, a little crispy in the mids to high mids or so. So we tone it down a bit, which is something I do. I probably should do it less, but I can't stand turning my things up and having them hurt, especially with fresh ears. If you've been designing for a while, your ears will be used to that sound or that frequency character, and so turning it up won't be as bad because your ears have actually adapted to hearing that a lot, that sound shape. So it's very important to take your breaks, folks, so that you remain objective. These last bits were all made using this cool technique with a doppler to create a hit. So I'm playing all those. We have some glass stuff, and then we have this great air blow duster flutter that I will show you now. All right, so we have the sound here, duster spray flutter. Let's turn off our processing here and just listen to it. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Paul understands. Listen to all the movement dynamic quality he gives these recordings. He understands what sound designers need. So you find this stuff all throughout his libraries, and it makes our lives so much easier, because instead of having to find a boring static recording of an air thing, you get Paul dancing objects or his hands in front of it and getting all this great movement. I mean, you could use that for so many things. So we have a Z noise here because there is a little noise. It's an air duster, right? It's literally air. So we're just curbing that a little bit just because the white noise does add up a lot, right? So here I'll actually just bypass these and just play you what it's removing just so you can see. Right, so we just want that gone. All right, we got back to our original. So yeah, we have the Z noise. Show you the settings again. We have low air again. Traveler. So this is where the real trick comes in. Traveler is a Doppler plugin, and it allows you to do this thing where you actually crank this shift value here. And so instead of it just going around to the circle, it'll actually jump. I'll show you that here. Like that. And so if I put this to normal, right, in the middle, it'll just do a circle. The red object is our listener, right? Then if I shift it, so if you want swells in, you could go, or swell ins, you could go this side. If I want hits, right? We have a little low in there from the low air as well. If you mute that, it just becomes a little thinner, a little less bassy. Then we have a soothe as well, just doing barely anything, just kissing the tonality down a little bit. So I think I grabbed something from the beginning. Yeah, there. Get a little tail out. And then about 7 dB of L2 at the end. And so our file sounds like this. And that's a great way to make kind of cool impacts. And what's really fun as well is like you can let me bring that back. You can mess with the Doppler amount. So if I crank this up, it's going to get really sci-fi and really pitchy, right? Even more, right? And then tweak the shift amount too. Right, because it's doing the Doppler thing, right? So if I turn pitch shift off, you'll hear. See, that's that Doppler amount. But if I turn it back down, it loses it. So I think a little bit of that's cool for this case, right? Because that lets us get a little bit of that, like, it does create a little bit more movement at the head there. So this is the one we used. And it serves its purpose. And we're EQing a little bit of the high end out. Probably a little bit of that air noise. We did the same. These were like glass movement, pitcher, ball bearing, spinning. Probably just a glassy tonal layer. Yep. And so that we're less into the actual impact, and we're more into just the tail that it gave us, which was really neat. So that's that. That's how this sound was made. And so, yeah, I really think it's probably just useful. Like, I think it's good for a variety of things. Could be teleport, could be turning something into something else, like poof, now you're a rabbit or a frog or something. Or just a building block for something bigger. So if I was making this for a library, for other designers to use, I'd probably just use these bits here. Call it magic poof or something. Just because all this stuff, it's cool, but maybe it's not a glassy thing. Maybe it's they need room for like a ribbit after the person turns into a frog or whatever it is. So I just put in those other little things just to make it feel a little bit more produced. This took me a while to make, I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of designers show you this, but I'm going to zoom out and actually show you my work. And you're going to see there's a lot of muted. So we were messing around with stuff for a little bit for this. We're pretty fast at working, thankfully. So this wasn't days and days, but this was probably the better part of an evening, just making this cool poof thing. I'm a bit out of practice just designing with zero prompt and stuff. I also am used to having a very clear thing. A lot of it was just figuring out what do I make. So we had a cool poof. Additionally, if you recreate it up to this part, you might notice it doesn't sound completely the same. On our master, we do have an EQ doing a bit. So these are just doing like like 2 to 4 dB or so. There's dynamic bands here. It's kind of a hard EQ to copy. I apologize. I can even make this really big for you to see. And some of these might not be on. Oh, those are on. Yep, they're on. Do this to what your ear likes, though. So I can play it actually without this, and we can hear what it's like. So bypass. Pretty similar, right? And then with it. Brings up the brightness a little bit, watches a little bit of that 100 hertz muddy area. Brings in a little bit of the tonal mid low mid, and then watches some of that overly brightness and make sure it's in like the 6K range where it really feels like presence instead of just air. In sound design, there's usually not too much of value up here unless you just want like excitement noise, or if there truly is air in the recording, which sometimes there is, and there is in Paul's stuff as well. I filter freaked a lot of stuff and filtered it down though, so I think I sucked a lot of that out. Not as much my style. So yeah, that's my sound. Thank you so much, Paul, for everything, and also allowing me to be involved with this. I've worked a lot with Paul in the past. He's one of my favorite people to work with. He's helped my current game project an insane amount as an outsourcer, and his libraries have also helped me design great stuff. So definitely go over to Paul's website, Penguin Grenade. Well, it is paulstoughton.com. You can obviously just Google Penguin Grenade. You'll probably find some fun images and websites maybe with that term, but you'll probably find this as well. And it tells you a little bit about him as well. And then you can browse his libraries. They're all very fairly priced, especially considering the amount of work he puts into them. And I just love Paul to death. He's a great human, and he does a lot for the community, like putting this kind of a challenge together. So I'm really excited to see what all the other people make, because I'm going to learn a ton, and that's going to be awesome. So hopefully I was able to teach someone something, or some cool trick, or some way to look at things a bit different, or at least entertain. I have my YouTube channel here. This is one of my older videos. There's some good lessons in here: how to use Pro Tools for game sound design, how to make really big electricity using Radium and SoundMiner, and then some older real reviews and things like that. One last thing, we have a Discord server. There's links in all the videos, video description, so there should be one below this one on YouTube. And it's totally obviously free to join, and then you just need a little display name. You'll get in, you'll select a role: audio directors, supervising people, you have seniors, you have sound designers, you have people who are like assistants or associates, and then you have people who are total beginners, usually like not working professionally yet and trying to learn. And these are obviously the people we're most excited about joining. Obviously anyone's welcome, but I love having people come in that are newer and just being able to pull back the curtain. We have people in this feedback channel here posting their ideas. We have some really interesting conversations. I'm in there as much as I can be, responding, and other people from the community are there as well. We also have freebies that we post very often, that, anytime someone's having a giveaway, you can just come and grab plugins and sound effects here. We have great resource videos, so people just talking about, what videos taught them the most and all things like that. And tons of other great channels as well, where you can, see job postings as well, where you can go apply. We have a great Body is our resident hero who posts these things all the time. So yes, please come join, become a sound designer Discord. Doesn't matter if you're totally a beginner or a seasoned veteran. We welcome everyone. It's a place where we really pride ourselves on just giving really great constructive direct feedback to really just help people who are taking this craft very seriously and wanting to grow. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and keep making sounds. Let's all help each other get better. Thanks.